Hello, this is teacher Michael Gold. Let's continue from where we stopped on balancing chemical equation. Let me remind you that this is my personal trick on balancing chemical equation, and this trick will help you to balance any chemical equation that comes your way. So let's continue from where we stopped. So for this particular session, we want to balance a lot of equation. We want to balance. So just sit back and enjoy this particular video. So let's start with this equation. So this is an equation for us to balance. So let's start. So on the steps of balancing chemical equation, you can see there I've indicated that the first step is balancing non-metals. So if you look at this equation, we don't have any non-metals here. So we move to the next step, which is balancing metals. So the metal that is here is iron, which is the metal that is here, which is Fe. So let's balance the iron. So if you look at this equation, let's split it out first the way we do in the previous video before we continue. So we have here Fe, we have H2.O. So we have Fe3. We also have O4, then H2. So when looking at this equation, you see that we are balancing iron, which is the metal. So iron here is 3, while iron here is 1. So what we need to do is to add 3 here. So if we add 3 here, that means that the iron is balanced. So the next step is balancing hydrogen. So when you're balancing hydrogen, look at hydrogen here is 2. Hydrogen here is 2. So that means that hydrogen is what? Is balanced. So the next step is balancing oxygen. So oxygen here is 4, while oxygen here is just 1. So what you need to do is to add 4 to oxygen here. So we add 4 here. So if you add 4 here, that means that this 4 will also affect this hydrogen because they are just one compound. So it will be what? 4. You add 4 to this part also. So when you add 4 to this part, that means that the hydrogen here has increased to what? To 8. While oxygen here has increased to 4. So you come over to this place, oxygen is 4, so oxygen is balanced. Here, hydrogen is 8. So what do you need to add to 2? To multiply by 2 to have 8, so it is 4. So if you add 4, so that means this one will now be 8. So that hydrogen is also balanced. So oxygen here is balanced, iron here is balanced, and iron here is balanced. So what you now do is transfer your molecule, your number of molecules to this particular one. So here we have 3 here. Here we have 4. And here we have nothing is here. Here we have 4. So this equation is automatically balanced like this. So let's look at another one. MnO2 plus HCl giving you MnCl2 plus H2O plus Cl2. So we proceed by splitting the equation down and balance before you add it up to this. So here we have Mn dot O2, then H dot Cl, giving us Mn dot Cl2, then H2 dot O, and then the Cl2. So let's go back to our steps. The first step is balancing non-metals like nitrogen, sulfur, and chlorine. So let's look at division. The non-metals here is chlorine. So chlorine is present here. So if you look at this equation, if you look at this reaction here, you see that we have chlorine here, 2 here, plus 2 here, making 4. So we have 4 chlorine present here. And here we just have just 1 chlorine. So what you need to do is to add 4 to this point here. If you add 4 to this point here, that 4 will also affect this. So we also add to this point here. So chlorine is balanced in this other direction. So the next step is to balance metals. So let's look at the metals present here. So we have manganese here, and they are 1 1. So the manganese here is 1. Good. So if the manganese here is 1, the manganese is balanced. So the next thing is hydrogen. So hydrogen here is 2, while hydrogen here is 4. So what you need to do is to increase this to 4. So if you increase this to 4, just by adding 2 to this point, and this 2 will also affect this oxygen here. So the hydrogen here is 4. Now the last one is the oxygen. So if you look at the oxygen, if you look at the oxygen here is 2, while oxygen here is also what? 2. So that means that the equation is automatically balanced. So if it's automatically balanced, you can now bring our value and you put in here. So here we have nothing is here. For here we have 4, and here nothing is here. And for here we have 2. And the equation is automatically balanced. So let's look at it. Manganese here is 1. Manganese here is 1. Oxygen here is 2. Oxygen here is 2. Iron here is 4. Chlorine here is 4. Chlorine here is 4. So the equation is automatically balanced. Let's look at the next one. So this particular I want to bring out going to be more tricky. So just pay more attention to it because it needs to be more trickish than the other one. So this is Al. This is Al plus HCl giving you Al3, AlCl3 plus H2. So let's look at this. So for this particular one, let's split it out for so that we can proceed with balancing. So you have this, we have H plus H dot Cl giving you Al dot Cl3, then H2. So let's go back to our rules. Our rules first says non-metal first. So the non-metal there is what? Chlorine. So you balance chlorine first. Chlorine here is 3. Chlorine is 1. So you add 3 to this to make up 3 chlorine. So this will also affect this. So this will be 3. Good. That's 3. Then the next one is what? Metal. So the metals here is aluminum here is 1. Aluminum here is also what? 1. So the metals is balanced. So you move to chlorine. So you move to what? Hydrogen, which is the next thing there. So hydrogen here is 2. Hydrogen here is 3. So what you need to do is to add 3 here. If you add 3 here, the hydrogen here will increase to 6. So if hydrogen increase to 6, that means that here is 3. You must also increase this one to what? To 6. So if you increase this one to 6 is by multiplying this by 2 to make up the 6. So this will be times 2. And you also do that to this. So this will be times 2. If you multiply this by 2, it will give you 6. So this is 6 here. 6 here. And this is also what? 6 here. Like this one. So this is 6 here. So if you do that, you will see that it has also affected this chlorine here. Otherwise, you should take note of this because it's very, very tricky. So it has affected chlorine here. So chlorine here is 6, but here is 3. So what do you need to do to make up this chlorine is to add 2 here. So if you add 2 here, this chlorine will now become 6. And the 2 also affect this aluminum. So aluminum will now become what? 2. So when you do that, you now have to come here and increase aluminum here by 2. If you increase that by 2, if you look at the equation are all balanced. So you have 2 here, you have 6, you have 6 here, here 6, here 6. So you can now find the equation, the number of molecules to this part to balance off this particular equation. So we have 2 here, here we have 6, here we have 2, and here we have 3. So the equation is automatically balanced. Please, if you enjoyed this video, let me share the videos for others to watch and give me a thumbs up. Please follow my YouTube channel for more videos like this. Bye for now.